Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Relationships are not built on noise. They're built on presence. If you really want a man to be hooked, not just for a moment, not just for a thrill, but truly addicted to you, you gotta understand that the strongest influence doesn't come from screaming, nagging, or chasing. It comes from silence. It comes from the way you carry yourself without having to explain yourself every minute of the day. A woman's true power lies in what she doesn't have to say, but in what she silently demands through her confidence, her boundaries, and the way she respects herself. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful right here. A woman's true power is not in how loud she can be, not in how much she explains herself, not in how many arguments she can win. A woman's true power lies in her silence, in the way she carries herself with dignity, in the way she holds back her words and lets her actions, her energy, and her presence speak louder than anything she could say. You see, men hear a lot of noise every day, at work, in the world, in their own heads. But when a woman knows how to use silence as strength, she becomes unforgettable. She becomes that rare calm in the middle of his storm. That's where the power is. When a woman is always talking, always explaining, always trying to prove why she's right or why she deserves respect, she ends up draining her own energy. A man stops listening after a while because he feels no need to tune in when everything is being handed to him. But when she knows how to sit back, smile, and stay quiet in moments where others would argue, that silence becomes a statement. It tells him, I don't have to convince you. I know who I am. And trust me, nothing gets a man's attention like a woman who knows who she is without needing his approval. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence doesn't mean letting someone walk all over you. Silence means you've mastered control over your emotions. And that's something men deeply respect. Think about it. When everybody else is loud, when everyone else is trying to get the last word in, the person who can remain composed has the most power in the room. A woman who practices this in her relationship sets herself apart. She shows him that she doesn't get rattled easily, that she values peace more than drama, and that she's not desperate for attention. That kind of energy makes a man sit up straight because he knows he's dealing with someone different, someone rare, someone he can't just treat like everybody else. When you're silent in the right moments, you give a man the space to think. Men don't think deeply when you're constantly talking at them. But when you step back and let the quiet do its job, he starts running through everything in his mind. He starts asking himself, why isn't she responding? Why isn't she explaining? Did I lose her attention? Did I mess up? Suddenly, you're not chasing his understanding. He's chasing yours. That's the kind of silent power that makes a man addicted to figuring you out. And let me say this, ladies. Silence paired with confidence is magnetic. When you walk into a room and you don't feel the need to announce yourself, people notice. When you're in a relationship and you don't feel the need to justify every move, a man notices. That kind of presence says, I know my worth. I know what I bring. I don't have to broadcast it because if you're smart, you'll see it. Men can't resist that. It pulls them in. It makes them want to know more. It makes them respect you without you ever demanding respect. The truth is, too many women waste energy trying to be understood instead of realizing that their silence is already the answer. Silence is not empty. It's full of meaning. When you use it wisely, it tells a man that you are not ordinary, you are not to be played with, and you are not someone who settles for less. That quiet strength makes him realize that your presence is a privilege and your peace is priceless. And once a man understands that, he can't help but keep coming back because deep down he knows he won't find that kind of power anywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break something down for you. Men are wired differently. A man doesn't become addicted to something that's always there, always available, always giving itself without him putting in effort. That's just how it is. Men are hunters by nature, and hunters don't crave what comes easy. They crave what challenges them, what makes them wonder, what keeps them on their toes. If you want a man to be truly hooked, you have to understand this truth. Men become addicted to what makes them wonder, not what's always available. Now here's the thing. when you give a man constant attention, when you're always texting back immediately, when you're always explaining where you are and what you're doing, he doesn't feel that pull anymore. He gets comfortable. He starts to assume that no matter what he does, you'll always be there. And when a man feels too comfortable, he starts taking things for granted. That's when the relationship loses its spark. But when you hold back just a little, when you keep some mystery, when you don't reveal every single detail of your life, suddenly he's curious again. Suddenly he's wondering what you're thinking, what you're doing, and where he fits into it all. That wondering keeps him hooked. It's not about playing games. It's about creating balance. Men respect a woman who has a life outside of him. When he knows that you're not sitting by the phone waiting for his call, when he sees that you've got goals, friends, passions, and things that make you happy without him, he starts to realize your value on a deeper level. He begins to understand that you're not dependent on his presence to feel complete. That's when he begins to chase, because he knows he could lose something real if he doesn't step up. Think about it. When something is rare, people line up for it. They're willing to pay more for it. They fight to keep it. The same applies here. If you're always available, always predictable, always easy to figure out, he won't feel that urgency to hold on to you. But when you're a little unpredictable, when you leave room for him to wonder, when you show him that your time is precious, he feels that urgency. He starts investing more, giving more, and working harder just to secure his place in your life. And let me tell you, that wondering is powerful. When a man lays awake at night thinking, what's she doing? What's on her mind? How do I make sure I don't lose her? That's when you know he's addicted. It's not about withholding love or affection. It's about making sure he sees you as valuable, as rare as someone who's not guaranteed without effort. That's the difference between a man who just likes you for the moment and a man who is addicted to you long term. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people overlook when it comes to relationships. Silence is one of the strongest tools a woman can use because silence creates mystery, respect, and space for a man to chase you. You see, too often people think that love means constant talking, constant explaining, constant access, but that's not what keeps attraction alive. What keeps a man truly hooked is that little gap, that space where he's not completely sure what you're thinking, where he has to wonder about you, where he realizes he has to move closer just to understand you. That's where the power of silence lies, when you are always available, always explaining yourself, always giving the answers before he even asks the questions. You strip away the mystery. And the truth is, men are drawn to mystery. That's why they chase. That's why they pursue. That's why they go after goals that aren't easily within reach. They want to feel that sense of accomplishment, that sense of winning something valuable. And when you create silence, you give him room to feel that. You give him the challenge of figuring you out. You create the space for him to lean forward instead of pulling back. Now understand, this isn't about being cold or shutting someone out. It's about knowing when not to say everything. It's about realizing that every detail of your life doesn't have to be handed over. It's about letting him miss you, letting him notice the absence of your voice, your energy, your presence. That space makes him realize how much he values it. Think about it. When you hear a favorite song on repeat nonstop, it starts to lose its magic. But when you don't hear it for a while, and then it comes back on, you appreciate it more than ever. Silence in a relationship works the same way. It's the pause that makes the presence more powerful. And let me tell you something else. Silence builds respect. When a man says something out of line, when he tries to test you, when he expects you to react, and instead of blowing up, you hold your peace, that silence speaks volumes. It tells him you're not desperate for his approval. You're not here to beg for respect. You already respect yourself. That composure is powerful because it shows him you are in control of yourself. And a man can't help but respect a woman who doesn't let him shake her ground. The minute he realizes his words don't have the power to break you, that's the minute he understands he's dealing with someone on a higher level. Another thing silence does is it creates longing. A man cannot chase you if you're already standing still waiting for him. He chases when he feels the distance, when he feels that space, when he knows he has to put in work to close the gap. Silence creates that distance in a subtle way. It's not ignoring him. It's not pushing him away. It's simply holding back enough so that he feels the need to move toward you. And believe me, when a man starts chasing, that's when he's the most invested. Because when he works for you, when he pursues you, when he feels he earned your presence, he values it more deeply. Silence also makes him think. Men are problem solvers. They like to figure things out. When you don't hand him every answer, he starts asking himself questions. What's on her mind? What does she really feel? Did I do something wrong? How do I make her happy again? And those questions keep him engaged. Those questions keep him from drifting away. Those questions keep him locked in because he doesn't want to risk being on the outside of your world. The quiet space you create in those moments is what makes him reflect and put in more effort. Here's the beauty of it. When silence is used with confidence and grace, it becomes more attractive than any words you could ever say. Because words can be repeated, arguments can be forgotten, but the feeling of mystery, the pull of longing, the respect earned from composure, those things stick. That's what a man remembers. That's what a man chases. That's what keeps him coming back. Silence, when used right, isn't emptiness. It's presence without noise. It's value without demand. It's strength without aggression. And when a woman understands how to use that silence, she creates an energy that makes a man not just want her, but need to be around her. Because she gives him something he can't find anywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about control. In relationships, the person who controls their emotions controls the pace. A woman who knows how to stay calm, collected, and intentional when things get heated is the one who sets the tone. You see, anybody can get loud, anybody can snap back, anybody can lose their temper, but it takes real strength to hold your peace when everything inside of you wants to explode. And when a man sees that kind of composure, it makes him sit up straighter. It makes him look at you differently because he knows he's dealing with someone who values her peace above the chaos. That's a power he can't ignore. Now listen, men test boundaries. Sometimes they say things just to see how you'll react. They push buttons, not always out of malice, but because they want to understand what kind of woman they're dealing with. If you fly off the handle at every little thing, if you react to every comment, if you let your emotions run wild, then he knows exactly how to control you. But when you keep your calm, when you don't give him the reaction he expects, that flips the script. Instead of him controlling the situation, you are. Instead of him setting the energy, you're the one in charge. And that makes him respect you in a way words alone never could. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're smart enough to know that not everything deserves your energy. It means you choose when to speak and when to stay quiet. It means you move with intention instead of impulse. And men notice that. They notice when you don't let negativity shake your peace. They notice when you keep your dignity instead of wasting time on drama. And it makes them want to protect that peace because deep down, every man craves a woman who brings balance to his life. Think about it this way. Chaos is everywhere. Out in the world, at work, on social media, in everyday struggles. What makes a man addicted to a woman is not just beauty, not just attraction, but the way she makes him feel when he's around her. If he feels calmer, more grounded, more focused just by being with you, he's not going anywhere. That calm energy becomes his safe place. That composure becomes the anchor he doesn't want to lose. And the more you guard your peace, the more he realizes he has to rise to meet your standard because you're not lowering it for anyone. There's another layer to this too. When you stay calm and intentional, you give him no excuse. If you scream and fight, he can dismiss your words by focusing on your reaction. But if you stay poised, he has nothing to grab onto. He has to face the truth of what he did because you didn't let the argument distract from the point. That silence, that composure, it forces him to reflect. And reflection is what changes behavior. Reflection is what makes him step back and think, I can't play with her. I can't risk losing her. That's where the addiction grows, from the realization that your peace is something he needs in his life. Men may not always admit it, but they respect a woman more when she respects herself enough to stay in control. A woman who doesn't let every little thing rattle her, who doesn't let her emotions be pulled like a puppet. She stands out. That's rare. That's magnetic. That's what makes a man want to be better, to try harder, to prove he's worthy of being in her space, because he knows your peace is not free, it's earned. And the man who earns it feels like he's won something priceless. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this straight. Addiction in a man's heart doesn't come from a woman begging for love, chasing after him, or constantly proving her worth. Addiction comes when he realizes that she brings something to his life that no one else can bring. It's when he wakes up and understands that she's not just another woman. She's not replaceable. She's not temporary. She's the difference between chaos and peace, between noise and meaning, between ordinary and extraordinary. That realization is what hooks a man deep, because once he sees that kind of value, he can't unsee it. A lot of women get stuck thinking they have to do more, give more, sacrifice more to make a man stay. But here's the truth, men don't stay addicted because you give them everything. They stay addicted because you hold something back. Your standard, your strength, your sense of self. When he knows that you will never settle for less than you deserve, when he knows that you expect respect, consistency, and effort, that's when he locks in. That's when he starts investing, because he realizes your love is not cheap and your presence is not guaranteed. That rarity makes him value you in ways words can't describe. See, when a man meets a woman who only offers surface level attraction, it fades. Looks fade, excitement fades, the thrill fades. But when he meets a woman who brings peace of mind, who makes him feel like he's in the right place when he's with her, that doesn't fade. That becomes addictive. That becomes the thing he looks for when he's stressed, when he's tired, when the world feels heavy. You become the safe place he doesn't want to lose. And once a man has tasted that kind of energy, he realizes he can't find it anywhere else. What makes you irreplaceable is not just how you look, not just how you love, but how you hold your value. If you're the type of woman who knows her worth and doesn't lower standards, he has to step up or step out. And when he steps up, he does it with full effort, because he knows he's not just winning your attention, he's winning your trust, your energy, your presence. That sense of earning something rare is what keeps him addicted, because he knows it's not something he can just take for granted. Another piece of this is consistency. When you live by your standards and don't waver, you show him that your value isn't situational. You don't drop your expectations because you're lonely. You don't compromise because you're scared to lose him. You don't bend because you want to please. You remain consistent. That consistency teaches him that you are solid, that you are unshakable, that you're not moved by pressure or fear. And men crave that kind of strength, even if they don't always say it. They crave a woman who brings something stable, something real, something they can count on. And let's not forget this. Addiction happens when you give him an experience he can't duplicate. If all you offer is what everyone else offers, he won't feel that pull. But if you bring peace, class, standards, mystery, and presence, he knows he can't just go find another version of you. He knows you're one of one. That realization hits a man in a way that changes how he treats you, because he sees that losing you would mean losing something irreplaceable. That's the root of addiction. Not desperation, not games, but value that speaks for itself.